I have a game today that is pretty unique because it can be played from kindergarten up to fifth grade. So there's some changes that have to happen between each of the games, and I'm not sure that everybody could play all together, but it's a game that kind of meets anybody's needs along the way. So it's a game that primarily works on either addition facts or multiplication facts, but been a little bit of like find the difference thrown in when you're trying to figure out your points. So I'm going to start with our kindergartners and kind of work our way up to all the different ways you can play this game. So we're going to call this game Close Call because you're trying to get as close to a target number as you can with the choices that you're given. So starting with our little learners with addition up to 5, you're going to want to modify the deck pretty significantly. This deck is going to have numbers 1 through 5 in it. And then there also needs to be a 0, so you can kind of choose. I decided to put queens in because they kind of look like zeros. So you're going to see that kind of all throughout the video is I use queens as the zeros. So this deck is only ace through 5 plus the queens. And what you're going to do is draw 3 cards, maybe 4 cards. I'll go ahead and do 4. And what you're trying to do is get as close to 5 as possible with the numbers that you're given. So you can see I have 3 threes and an ace, which is a 1. So I have 3 threes and a 1. And I really don't have too many options. I can't get 5 exactly, but I can get pretty darn close. And this is that close call. That's why we call this game Close Call. So I could put 2 threes together and say 3 and 3 is 6. I'd only be 1 away from 5. Or I could put a 3 and a 1 together to make 4. And then again, I'm still 1 away. So either one is a pretty good option for me. The kids are gonna kind of play around. What you want them to do is you don't want them to just see the first combination and go with that. You want them to take some time to figure out, is this my best option? And once you've figured out which one is your best option, then that's what you play while everybody else is doing the same with their cards. And so let's say I played my 2 threes. So then I would say 3 plus 3 is 6. And then how far away am I from that target number? So for this game, the target number is 5. So I'm 1 away from the target number. And so I would get 1 point for this round. The goal is to get 0 points. It's kind of like golf that way. You want the lowest score. So 1's a pretty good score. As far as how long the game lasts, that's really up to you. You can play a certain number of rounds, like we're going to play 5 rounds, or we're going to play 10 rounds, or you could say we're going to play until somebody gets 20 points, or we're going to play until somebody gets 50 points. However you want to stretch that out for your family and get good practice in. So then after I play my 2 threes and everybody's figured out their points, we jot them down on a piece of paper, and then I draw 2 cards to replace the 2 cards that I used. So this time I have a 3, a 0, a 3, and a 1. And again, I'm still trying to get as close to 5 as I can. So I might do this time the 3 and the 1 to make 4 and get another 1 point for this round. Probably we want to stick with just putting 2 numbers together instead of like trying to maybe put 3 numbers together that equal 5. But that's again kind of a personal choice. So if you wanted to play it that way where you could use as many cards out of your hand to get to 5, that's one way that you could change up this game for you. So this deck again is specifically for those combinations up to 5, and it works really well for that. So this is Close Call up to 5. So I changed out my deck because this time we're going to do Close Call up to 10 or even 20 would work for this. And this time I have my deck is going to be all of the digits, so 1 to 9. And again, I kept those queens in there to act as zeros. But it plays the exact same way as Close Call to 5 works. You're going to shuffle the cards, you draw 4 cards, and then based on your target number, let's say my first target number is 10. Based on that target number, I'm trying to get as close to 10 as possible. So there's a lot of calculation that happens because again, you don't want the students just to go with their first instinct. You really want them to kind of go through their options and really use some good reasoning about this is the reason why I'm doing this is because I've looked at all my other options and this is the best option. So for me, I have a 5 and a 7 would give me 12. That's pretty close to 10. Or a 7 and 1 gets me pretty close to 10 too. So I kind of weigh those two and I decide I want to use my 7 and my 5, which is 12. 12 is 2 away from 10, so then I would get 2 points for this round. And again, everybody does the same thing. When you're done with your 2 cards, you discard them and drop 2 cards to replace. If you're going to play this game up to 20, you would probably want to say that this time you could play 3 cards or even all 4 of your cards to get as close to 20 as possible. Because really the only options would be to get 2 9s, and that's as close as you could get. So that's why we would want to go ahead and do the 3 add-ins. So with the choices that I have, there's not a lot of good choices. I'm going to use my 8, my 7, and my 1, which is going to get me 16, and that would give me I would be 4 away from 20. So this round I would get 4 points. You could also up the number of cards that you draw, so you could draw 6 cards to try to get as close to 20 as possible. But again, I would probably say you want to use at least 3 add-ins, maybe 4. I would probably stick with 3, but you could maybe do 4 add-ins to try to get as close to 20 as possible. So that's close call with the number 10 or with the number 20. All right, we're back for another close call. So this close call is going to be up to 100. So this is going to be kiddos who are working on 2-digit addition and they're really ready for that challenge. And so what you're going to do with this, you're going to shuffle the cards. It uses the same deck as the 10 to 20 close calls game do. So you're going to want the 1 to 9, all of those cards, and then again, that queen acts as a 0. So for close call to 100, you're going to draw 4 cards, and this time you have to use all 4 of your cards. You don't get a choice. And you're going to make 2 2-digit numbers. But you can rearrange how you use those 2-digit numbers to get the best option possible. So there's a lot of like trial and error with this as you're rearranging. And this is not a really good option. So I'm going to switch out one of those 4s. All right, so now I've got a 5, 2 4s, and a 9. So I could make the numbers 54 and 49. And for this, you probably want to have a piece of paper so that your kiddo can sit there and kind of figure out what is 54 plus 49 and does that get me close to 100? Is there a better way to get closer to 100? So then I might maybe swapping out and putting 45 and 49 is a better option. So then kind of doing that calculations and saying, oh, well, now I'm at 94, I'm 6 away when I have 94 as my total. Or maybe there's a better way. So if I do 45 and 94, is that better? Oh, they're going to realize that putting that 9 over in the tens place is going to be a really hard combination to pair up to get exactly 100. So it works the same way that the other close calls. However close you are to 100, that's the score that you get, and you want the lowest score possible. So for me, without a lot of extra time to think about it, I'm thinking 45 and 49 is probably my best option. But again, I would want to continue to play around with all my choices and see how close I can get to 100. And once I have it locked in, I record my score, and then those 4 cards get discarded, and I get 4 new cards for round 2. This game, this close to 100 or the close call 100, actually works with anything with the multiples of 10. So we can play close to 100 and we would draw, or close call to 100 and we would draw 4 cards. If we want to play close call with 1,000, we would just draw 6 cards and we have to use all 6 of the numbers. We could keep going and say close call to 10,000, and this time we would just draw 2 extra cards. So now we're up to using 8 cards, and we would make 2 4-digit numbers, and it just keeps going and keeps going. So if you want to really work on that 4th grade standard of being able to add numbers up to million, then this is a great way to do that. You draw the appropriate number of cards, um, and then so that when you want to draw 6 cards, or I'm sorry, 12 cards, because you want to create 2 6-digit numbers, and then you try to get as close to 1 million as possible. So it works for all different ranges for kiddos who are working on 2-digit addition up to that fourth grade standard of being able to use that standard algorithm to really add those larger numbers. So that is close call with addition, but there's also a way to play close call with multiplication, and that's coming next. All right, so now close call with multiplication. The first way to play close call with multiplication would be to use 3 numbers, and you do have to use all 3 of the numbers this time, just like with the 2-digit addition or the multi-digit addition practice with close call. But for this one, you're going to create a 2-digit number times a 1-digit number and try to get as close to 100 as you can. So that's the close call target number is going to be 100 when you're multiplying a 2-digit number times a 1-digit number. And it's really all about like kind of minimizing. You're going to get farther away probably. It's going to be harder to get exactly 100, but it's going to give the score will allow the students to practice kind of that a larger score to continue to tally up. So I could make 56 times 3. I could make 5 times 36. I could make 63 times 5, and really I'm just trying to find the best combination. I could do 35 times 6. I'm really trying to find the best combination to get me as close to 100 as I can. And then again, you're probably going to want pencil and paper to because they'll be doing a lot of little calculations to see as I'm going and trying to figure out what is my best combination. So that's close call with multiplication, and your target number would be 100. And then there's one other way to play this close call game with multiplication, and that would be creating a 2-digit number times a 2-digit number. So for this one, you'll draw 4 cards, and you have to use all 4 of the cards, and then you create 2 2-digit numbers that you then multiply together. So I could do 63 times 51. That's going to be way past the target number of 1,000 for this game. And so I need to rearrange. I need to look for a better solution. So maybe my 15 times 63 is better, or maybe even better yet, 15 times 36. Or maybe I need to flip flop these and put the 13 together and create and multiply by 56. So you can see that there's a lot of reasoning, there's a lot of like problem solving and puzzling, and there's predicting and estimating about what my answer is going to be. Um, and It's really good for conversation. It's good, quick game to play. Again, you can play as many rounds as you want. These 2 multiplication versions are a little bit more labor intensive because they're doing a lot of calculations, so you probably don't want to play quite as long as with the addition games. But it's still a great game to play to practice that multi-digit multiplication. So either a 2-digit number by a 1-digit number with the target being 100, or 2-digit times 2-digit with the target being 1,000. So that is all the different versions of close call, starting down with the kindergarten, working on those combinations to 5, all the way up to some multi-digit addition or multi-digit multiplication. So enjoy. I will keep coming up with more games to share with you as you're working at home, and know that everybody at Chin just wishes we could be back in the building all together so we could celebrate and learn together in person rather than through computer screens. So enjoy. Hope to see you soon.